Welcome. This presentation is being recorded in the fall of 2015 for those who would like to learn more about the licensed professional clinical counselors in California. My name is Dean Porter, and I'm the Executive Director of the California Association for Licensed Professional Clinical Counselors, or CALPIC for short. CALPIC is the successor to the California Coalition for Counselor Licensure, which advocated for 5 years in the state legislature to get this licensure bill passed. Each state now licenses 3 mental health professions at the master's level: LPCs, LMFTs, and LCSWs. LPC is the most commonly used term for professional counselors, but some states, like California, have added the word clinical or mental health to the LPC. In 2013, there were over 126,000 LPCs, about 58,000 LMFTs, and over 225,000 LCSWs in the country. And this is according to the American Counseling Association. In 2015, California now has over 1,300 LPCCs, while it has over 38,000 LMFTs, which is more than half the LMFTs in the country. LMFTs got an early start in California. California also has over 23,000 LCSWs. It's taken many years for these mental health professions to be licensed in every state. California was the first state to license LCSWs in the 1940s. And California was the first state to license LMFTs in the 1960s. But California was the last state to license LPCCs at the end of 2009. So, what got the effort going in California? LPCs from other states could not get licensed in California. Only those who focused their degrees on marriage and family could become LMFTs. So it became a restraint of trade for experienced LPCs from other states. This is where I got involved. It did not seem right that there was no license for experienced licensed counselors coming into California from other states. So we formed the California Coalition for Counselor Licensure, comprised of 12 California professional associations. The California Coalition spent 2 years in preparation and then 5 years in the legislature until the third bill passed. The reason it took so long to get a counselor bill passed was that it had opposition from some of the sister professions. While the social workers remained neutral, and the psychiatrists agreed early on to support the license if our interns would earn 150 supervised hours in a hospital or community mental health setting. We had to take restrictions in our scope of practice from the psychologists and from one LMFT association, and agree to grandparent LMFTs for a short time with the other MFT association. But finally, the bill passed at the end of 2009 and became law in 20. Once the bill passed, the California Coalition became a membership association, now known as CALPIC, with the purpose of protecting and supporting the new license. It took 2 years for the Board of Behavioral Sciences to develop regulations and applications before they could issue the first licenses in 2012. The next milestone was 2014, when the Department of Healthcare Services in California determined that LPCCs could be reimbursed by Medi-Cal. So here we are in 2015, and over 1,300 LPCCs are licensed, and over 1,400 PCCIs, or Professional Clinical Counselor Interns, are now registered. The Board of Behavioral Sciences has reviewed at least 67 California university programs so that students can see which programs will meet the LPCC requirements. But about half of California's 63 counties have updated their job descriptions to include PCCIs and LPCCs. And most private insurance companies are now reimbursing LPCCs. According to the American Counseling Association, LPCs across the country work with individuals, families, and groups to treat mental, behavioral, and emotional problems and disorders. They make up a large percentage of the U.S. mental health workforce. And you will find LPCs in mental health centers, in managed care organizations, and in working with the military. The 2014 American Counseling Association Code of Ethics is used across the nation for LPCs, and it is used as the standard of practice for LPCCs in California by the Board of Behavioral Sciences and by CalPIC. This ethical code is used in the California LPCC Law and Ethics exam. The ethical code can be downloaded from the ACA or CalPIC websites. The scope of practice for California LPCCs includes the application of counseling interventions and psychotherapeutic techniques to improve mental health. This is a good one-sentence summary of the LPCC scope of practice. Other sentences that are found in the scope include identification and remediation of cognitive, mental, and emotional issues, empowering individuals to deal adequately with life situations, and so forth. LPCCs in California can treat couples and families if they have completed 6-semester units focused on marriage and family theory and practice, and 500 hours of supervised experience with couples, families, or children, and then 6 hours of continuing education credits in marriage and family each renewal cycle. This additional education and training is the result of a compromise with the California chapter of AAMFT in order to get the LPCC bill passed in the legislature. This additional education and training is only required if an LPCC wants to see couples and families. It is not required for the LPCC license. No other state requires LPCCs or interns to have additional education and training in order to provide couple and family therapy. Note that the supervised hours with children count toward this requirement. This is confusing since LPCCs and PCCIs are already allowed to work with children. But this is what is allowed for MFTIs, so our PCCIs inherit. California LPCCs and PCCIs can provide individual and group therapy for adults and children. They can also provide collateral services for couples and families. So what does collateral services mean? When working with an individual, LPCCs or PCCIs can have contact with the family, including treatment planning, recommending resources, monitoring progress, or termination and aftercare planning. LPCCs and PCCIs can provide couple and family therapy if they have the required additional MFT education and training, or if they are gaining supervised hours under an approved supervisor. LPCCs can provide supervision of ASWs, and they can also provide supervision of PCCIs and MFTIs earning the 500 MFT hours only if they have the required additional MFT education and training. So currently only an LMFT or an LPCC who has met the additional MFT education and training requirements can supervise the 500 hours. However, as of January 2016, a new BBS regulation will add LCSWs, clinical psychologists, and board-certified psychiatrists who are competent to practice marriage and family therapy as possible supervisors of LPCCs or PCCIs earning the 500 MFT hours. The rationale is that while California LPCCs have this MFT restriction in their scope, the other professions do not. Although it's a good idea to have completed some of the MFT coursework before beginning the 500 hours, the new regulation does not specify when the coursework is to be completed. The BBS will soon verify the MFT education and training for LPCCs. So, effective January 16, LPCCs who want to treat couples and families can submit documentation of MFT coursework and supervised hours to the BBS. And in return, the BBS will provide written confirmation that the MFT requirements have been met. And then LPCCs will provide this confirmation to clients, supervisees, and employers. This verification is something that the counties have requested and will facilitate their hiring of LPCC. What else does the LPCC scope not include? Due to a compromise with the California Psychological Association in order to get the LPCC bill passed, LPCCs cannot administer the tests that are listed here, even if they have the education and training to do so. The Board of Behavioral Sciences considers LPCCs to be on par with LMFTs and LCSWs. In addition, the requirements for the California LPCC are on par or exceed the requirements for LPCCs in other states. This chart, with sentences taken from the scopes of practice, indicates that all three license types at the master's level are licensed to provide psychotherapy in California. But each license type has a different focus in its scope of practice and education. The top row of this chart indicates the purpose of the practice, and the bottom row indicates how each license type achieves its purpose. I like to think of the bottom row as the common denominator because we are all licensed to provide psychotherapy, and the top row as the numerator where the differences are seen. LPCCs focus on the general practice of mental health counseling, and many develop a counseling specialty, such as rehabilitation, career, mental health, creative arts therapy, school counseling, and so forth. Where LMFTs focus on marriage and family therapy, and LCSWs focus on social work. The LPCC education requirements for those who began graduate study in 2012 include a degree with 60 semester units that includes some California-specific content, such as recovery-oriented practice environments, understanding the various cultures in our society, and coursework in 13 core areas. The first core area is advanced counseling and psychotherapeutic theories and techniques. The other 12 are presented in a chart on the following slide. This slide includes 12 of the 13 core areas. 3 semester units or 4.5 quarter units are required in each of the 13 core areas. 10 of the core areas must be included in the degree. 3 of the core areas may be added post-degree, but the BBS is working on an amendment that would not allow assessment or diagnosis to be remediated post-degree. Out-of-state applicants are allowed to remediate 6 core courses, but they too will not be allowed to remediate assessment or diagnosis. In addition to the 13 core areas, these 15 units allow LPCC students to develop an area of specialty or expertise. Many counselors then gain national certificates in one of these specialty areas. Another degree requirement is the practicum or field study. 6 semester units or 9 quarter units of supervised practicum in a clinical setting that provides a range of professional counseling experience must be included within the degree. The practicum cannot be remediated post-degree. The graduate programs have oversight of the pre-degree practicum hours, and the 280 hours are the national standard for face-to-face clinical experience. The supervision requirement for the LPCC is 3,000 post-degree hours. Pre-degree practicum hours do not count toward the post-degree 3,000 hour requirement. This is the national standard, and we have tried to make California LPCCs as portable as possible to other states. Two examinations are required for the LPCC licensure. The California Law and Ethics exam for LPCCs and the National Clinical Mental Health Counselor exam. Beginning January 1, 2016, PCCIs are required to take this exam in the first year of internship. PCCIs who do not pass the Law and Ethics exam during their first year of internship must take a 12-hour course in California Law and Ethics and then retake the exam in their next renewal cycle. The last step to licensure is the National Clinical Mental Health Counselor exam. This is taken upon completion of all supervised hours, education requirements, and passage of the California Law and Ethics exam. The LPCC is regulated by the Board of Behavioral Sciences, which also regulates LMFTs, LCSWs, and licensed educational psychologists. LPCCs are currently represented by one LPCC. When there are more LPCCs, we will change the law to include 2 LPCC representatives on the BBS board. We invite students, faculty, interns, and licensees to join CalPIC. Services include monthly updates on the LPCC license, personal email consultation for members, representation at all BBS committee and board meetings, a lobbyist representing LPCCs in Sacramento, annual conferences. Our next conference is scheduled for April 16th, 2016 at San Jose State University. We are starting regional networking events in 13 different regions throughout California, where students and interns and licensees can come together in their geographic area. We offer communication with other students, interns, and licensees through our community forum found on our members-only page. And we can recommend professional liability insurance. We sponsor California Educators Consortia for faculty. This concludes our slide presentation. Please visit our website for further information about the license or to become a CalPIC member. Questions about the license can be submitted to our email address.